everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. This week, I'd love to share with you my deck being built. I had a handyman come over, build a deck on the front of my tiny house. Now this is only about a 5x6 platform deck just because that was for inspection purposes. It needed to be that way legally. A little deck built on my tiny house with the option of it to be extended later on. So I'll be making a full wraparound deck on my house. It was a great learning experience, this project. And even though I didn't do any of the work, I pretty much watched the whole thing. Again, grateful to have these folks let me film them and record them and take pictures of this whole process, answering my questions along the way. There's a lot to cover, so let's get to it. Now, this handyman that I've been hiring is not charging me so much because he actually took apart another deck and we used the wood that he got from that deck. So they gave him that wood. It made my cost for the deck a lot less, which I was very grateful for. When the handyman got here, he unloaded the back of his truck with all of the supplies that he had brought from the unassembled deck, put it all basically in groups on the ground. He started cutting pieces to make the platform of this deck. That's where he started at. This deck isn't going to be affixed to my tiny house. It's just going to basically be poles in the ground and then poles standing up on the foundation. This is when he leveled the platform onto the part where he was going to put the deck. He used some 4x4 posts or studs that he put where he was going to put them in the ground, and they were his own. And then when he knew where he was going to put those, then he went to the store to get 4x4s to replace them. So that was pretty cool because he carries these around for purposes like this. And when he knows exactly what he's going to do, he goes and gets the supplies that he needs. Some help arrived so that it could make the job go quicker. This job was a little bit more detailed than any of the other ones that he had done for me. During the whole process, it was pretty cool to watch both of them do different things, and I learned different things throughout this whole little project. Now it was time for them to start putting the 6-foot boards on as they put them on vertically. The deck was also placed a little bit underneath my door so that when rain fell, it wasn't going inside my door. It was actually going down onto the deck and falling onto the ground. They used this square tool in order to make sure that each of the deck board pieces were in equal length to each other as they went across the way. I thought that was pretty cool because it was an equal amount of distance when they used this little tool. And again, that's something that I put in my little DIY memory bank and I will use it for later. The stairs were pretty cool. The handyman actually makes them at home. He's got a cutout for them. He basically just brings the wooden stairs after he creates them, and then they fit them to each of the projects. They had to make another trip to the store, so he went to go get a little bit more wood and the 4x4 posts to put in the ground to hold the deck up. This is when he was going to remove his 4x4 posts and replace them with my 4x4 posts that he just got at the store. But first he used this little digger. I've seen it before, but I never really knew what it was. He put it in the ground and it kind of just digs a hole, a straight deep down hole for those posts to go in. The top posts he put dirt back in, but the bottom posts he actually bought cement to put those into the ground, make it more sturdy. Another trip had to be made to the store, and this time he had to go get some treated lumber. The deconstructed deck that he used before was already used lumber, so the woods didn't look the same. I was questioning him on whether or not I could stain it after he was done, and he said because this like greenish tinted wood was newly treated, wait about 6 weeks before you go and stain it. So in about 6 weeks, he said the color is going to be more like the other color. I didn't want to stain it now, make the boards be two different colors, because the stain that I use is a weathering stain, which turns any kind of wood you're using kind of a different shade. I didn't want them to look different, so I will definitely wait to stain the deck. I watched how they made all of these intricate cuts inside the wood and fitting them around these posts. I learned exactly what tools that I should be using. Again, putting it all up here in my DIY memory bank so that if I have a project, then I could remember some of these tips and tricks and use them for my own projects. Time for the underpinning to go up, and one of the reasons why we are doing the underpinning is because the handyman suggested that we do the underpinning, that it would look a lot better with it closed than having the whole thing be open. And I actually absolutely agree with him. They took the wood from the deconstructed deck and cut them to size. They proceeded to screw them into the bottom part of the deck, which then became the underpinning. The deck is really coming together nicely. I'm learning a lot. These two guys and actually the handyman's wife was also there at certain times doing different things. All three of these knocked this deck out really cool, and the whole project is coming together nicely. Since the stairs were handmade by the handyman at home and he brought them, now was the time to cut them to size to fit my deck. He chopped the pieces off at the bottom and zipped it into the deck where the opening was. I believe a circular saw was used to cut all of the extra trim off the pieces of wood that were put vertically on the deck. They did first have to make sure that the stairs were level before affixing them to the back of the platform deck. Meanwhile, the spindles were getting prepared and either the nails were being taken out or the ends of the spindles were being taken off with a saw. At the same time, the bottom 4x4 posts were being cut to be put in the bottom of the deck, and these were the two that were going to be cemented into the ground. Lots of measurements and leveling happening to make sure that everything was even around the whole project. And again, the whole entire project is coming together nicely. I'm loving what I'm learning during this whole thing, making a lot of mental DIY notes for future projects. The job couldn't be done in one day, so the next day when they came back, they had made another trip to the store and got some more wood. This was the day when they started putting the spindles onto the deck. This was also about the time that the excess of the tops of the posts were cut off so that when they put a top on it, that everything was level. Just as the handrails were going on the bottom of the stairs, same thing. Those bottom pieces were also being cut off to make sure that they were even with each other, and the top of the railing was also put on. Now the finishing touches are being put on. Tops of the handrails are being put on. This is the time when they mixed up some cement and put it in the bottom post holes, and this is to make the entire deck secure and sturdy, and I believe this is part of what makes it not have to affix to the house. It's a lot easier for it to be not affixed to the house, and if I ever did want to move it, all I would need to do is dig it up in that section and the whole thing just moves. This is also the time when all the extra spindles at the bottom were cut off, some of the lengths that were cut too long, and this is when they made it all even on both sides. I feel this deck really looks amazing. It really surprised me how it came out. It's really a great, hardy, solid deck. I really love it and can't wait to build onto it from here. There was a lot of extra wood left over from the project, things that he could use, I just let him take, and things that I could use, I actually stacked up on scrap wood and put it on my shelf in the garage. So I will be either using those for projects or using those pieces of wood for just different things around the homestead. Like the project wood that I had before really came in handy in trying to reinforce my chicken coop and stuff all the holes with all of these extra pieces of wood. I hope you guys are enjoying my journey. If you did and you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and click the notifications bell so you can receive a notification every time I post a new video, which is every Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. They used this square tool to make sure that each of the deck boards were equal on, don't put that. I thought it was going to look a lot, I don't know the word, less beefy. Don't put that.